In this chapter, we will focus our efforts on crime scene sketching. This is an invaluable tool in documenting the physical aspects of the scene, and like photography, sketching is a supplement to other forms of crime scene documentation. In this chapter, we will cover aspects such as the types of sketches used, materials needed, the process of creating a sketch and different methodologies, as well as necessary information that should be included on all crime scene sketches. Crime scene sketches are a permanent record of the scene, and they are valuable in creating a mental picture of the scene for those who were not present. By documenting the precise location of objects at the scene, entrance and egress pathways, as well as aspects germane to a particular location or sequence of events, sketches, sometimes called diagrams, can correlate the courtroom testimony of witnesses and can detail in reference to the orientation of points for judges, juries, and prosecutors. Crime scene sketches can be used as a reference when interviewing and interrogating persons, preparing an investigative report, and presenting a case in a court of law. There are two types of sketches used, which actually refers to the process that's used in creating crime scene sketches: the rough sketch and the finished or scaled sketch. The rough sketch is the first pencil-drawn outline of the scene and the location of objects and evidence within this outline. Sketches are completed after photographs are taken and prior to anything being moved. During this critical step, it is important to sketch as much as possible about the scene. Although distances are measured and indicated in the sketch, the rough is not actually drawn to scale, which brings us to the finished or scale sketch. The finished sketch is drawn to scale, meaning that a specific amount of distance noted on the sketch equals a specific amount of distance in real life, and that scale exists across the entirety of the sketch or diagram, similar to the scale of a geographical map. The scales used will be covered a little later on in this presentation. The basic materials needed for crime scene sketching are those which most investigators, researchers, educators, or even avid drawers regularly have on hand, such as paper, pencil, measuring devices, storage clipboards, erasers, and compasses or protractors. The specific materials you might need will depend upon your scene environment, which you will note when you begin the process, first by observing your scene and planning for what you will need. For instance, though a typical steel measuring tape is better to use because it doesn't stretch, you might have an environment that is more conducive to using a laser measurement device. Continuing in the steps of the process, you will measure your distances, outline the area of the scene, locate objects and evidence within the outline, record necessary details, and identify the sketch with a legend and a scale. When measuring the outline area of the scene, you should use conventional units of measurement such as inches, feet, centimeters, and meters. Next, you should orient your sketch according to the directional locations. By that, I mean the top of your sketch paper should always be in the direction of wherever north happens to be. The size of the area to be sketched will be determined relatively, and it will determine what scale would be more discernible. For instance, for small rooms, a ½ inch on the paper would equal 1 foot of distance in real life, or for larger rooms or areas, an 1/8 of an inch on the paper would equal 10 feet of distance in real life, and various other relative adjustments for areas in between those sizes. Measurements should be taken from fixed locations. By that I mean any immovable objects such as walls, trees, telephone poles, corners, curbs, or outlets, that sort of thing. Plotting methods are used to locate objects and evidence on the sketch. They include the rectangular, baseline, triangulation, and compass point methods. When using rectangular coordinates to locate objects or evidence, you need to first use 2 adjacent walls as fixed points, then measure the distance to the object at right angles. If the scene is not inside a building or structure, other fixed objects can be used in the place of walls, such as curbs, exteriors of buildings, things like that. When using the baseline method for locating objects or evidence, run a baseline from one fixed point to another fixed point, then take the measurement at right angles. The triangulation method is commonly used in outdoor scenes, but does have valuable use for indoor locations as well. Use straight line measurements from 2 fixed objects to the evidence item. That will create a triangle with the evidence in the angle formed by the 2 straight lines. When using the compass point method, use a protractor to measure the angle formed by 2 lines to the evidence item. The final step in the creation of a crime scene sketch or diagram is to include the necessary information to identify and label the documentation. This will include the type of crime, the official case number assigned by the investigating agency, the investigator or sketch artist's name, the names of any persons who may be assisting, the orientation of where north is on the sketch, all identifying information in the sketch that are items such as evidence or non-evidence items, and the scale of the drawing. In conclusion for this presentation, some key points of interest you should take with you are what type of sketches are used by crime scene investigators, the basic materials that are needed and some idea of how those materials might change from one scene to another, the methods that can be used to locate objects of evidence in the drawings, and what types of information should be used in documenting the crime scene sketch.